Last Starfighter was tonight's movie, right?
Yeah.
I did watch.
All right. We're live.
All right. I'm recording. Hello, everyone. From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American Reef Factory.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it? Young or old?
Here comes the candles to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Reef Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
This is Conlon.
That's the most exciting thing that's going to happen tonight on the show. No Andrew again?
No. I didn't call him, but I texted him last time. But I don't know, he probably has stuff to do. So once you get out of the rhythm, it's easier just to let it go slide.
Yeah, that's why I started getting fat again. No, I've always been fat. Yeah, once you get out of it, it's hard to get back into it. But I do like all the positive feedback we get, so that keeps me coming back.
I did have a weird encounter this week
Okay.
with Matt.
Encounters with Matt. All right, what happened?
So I was going to the gym, and then I was stopped at the road, and I see somebody driving by in a Subaru. It's like, hey, someone's driving some fuck's driving my car. That little fun thing you do. And so then I go pull up, and then that guy parks, and then I have to wait for it's at a school bus is stopped there, so I have to sit there and wait. And I see Matt rolling up. He goes walking up to the car. He's like, "Is that you?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "You got a new car?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, so independently, me and Matt bought the same exact fucking car.
Really? Okay.
Same make, model, year, and color.
6-speed manual on his too?
No, mine's manual. His is automatic. But
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. It's unusual.
well, I mean, he had to get it for all kids and shit. So
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, it's just weird that two people that know each other would buy the exact same vehicle
yeah.
with no, communications. What are the chances?
It has roughly the same miles on it.
They have the same paint scheme?
Yeah, they're both silver, but mine has that Line X along the bottom edge of it,
Right.
so it gives it a more of a I don't know, off-road look to it.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
his is just straight silver.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, my car's ubiquitous. I always see my car everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can't remember what there's a phenomenon for it, but once you start paying attention to something, it'll just start showing up in everything.
Why the Kennedy conspiracy is a conspiracy.
Yeah.
It had no meaning suddenly take on great value and weight.
Yeah.
And that start to affect your thinking, decision-making process, and your observational skills.
Well, it's like the first time I had.
Making pot shots at the president to impress Joe.
I started driving the Subaru and barely noticed Subarus beforehand, and now I just notice them all the time. And there's it seems like some weird cult where Subarus start parking around your Subaru.
Now with my car, I've noticed I put value judgments because my car has a huge strata of there's the real low end, I call them the single pipers. Then you've got like the really nice ones with the dual through the bumper exhaust. And I'm always like, oh, he's got the bumper exhaust. Oh, but he didn't get the all-wheel drive. Fuck. Or I'll see the guy with the titanium all-wheel drive moonroof with the twin pipes. And I'm like, oh man, he spent a lot of money. He spent more money than. So yeah, I start having that weird. I'll like pull up next to somebody like, oh, a Fusion. It's like, oh, cloth interior like this. Why'd you go for the cloth? Oh, the baby in the back. Yeah. What's going on?
Hot leather burn baby.
Well, they'll just ruin it. Get Similac on black leather heated seats. Watch your world descend into chaos. But yeah, that's play a similar game to that because I can tell at a glance like what features it does and doesn't have.
Yeah.
And like I said, those cars have the widest strata of any. Like you can literally get one for almost as much as a Focus, or you can get one that's like, oh, you're in BMW entry level territory. It's which is kind of cool. Enough of that. So I've been playing with my what were you gonna say something else? I forgot.
Sorry, things are happening. I have to keep. Apparently we got disconnected and then reconnected. So whatever.
I hear the bing bong bong bing.
Yeah.
That means something bad is happening.
Yeah.
I mean the Russians are hacking our emails.
Well, they're always hacking our emails.
Yes.
But it's not them. It's the robots they created to hack our emails that they no longer control.
Oh, the Russian AI hacking robots are now taking over.
Yeah, I can't remember. There's like some. Weren't you telling me that? I think maybe. I don't know. Like, I'll make the point here. The Israelis made that like computer virus that caused that like nuclear plant in Iran to like self-destruct or whatever.
We made it, but yeah.
Oh, okay. And then, but somebody's saying like it's like getting out from the power plant and it's starting to infect other things and making them self-destruct.
Oh yeah, the people were horrified, especially like in the business I work, because Stuxnet, which is the virus, it attacks PLCs, which are programmable logic controllers. They control everything from robots to what they did was they measured the RPMs at the gas centrifuges at the Iranian nuclear fuel facility, and they were supposed to spin at like 500 RPMs, and they'd be spinning at like 6,000 RPMs. But the PLC would say, "Oh, it's still spinning at 500 RPMs," and people at the Iranian plant were like, "Why are we going through all these fucking bearings and everything's all fucked up?" Because those centrifuges were spinning, spinning like a top. And yeah, it attacks basically every manufactured product uses programmable logic controllers, and it's like, oh, you created a virus that controls everything from city water to automobile to computer manufacturing. Brilliant. Now you've released it into the world where people will tweak it and fuck with it. And, I mean, those things control the traffic light signals, the patterns in the city. So that was really good to do that. That's why, like, at the other plant I worked at, the lines weren't all bridged together. They communicated through tones. Okay, this is good, let it go, because you can't pass a computer virus along a tone. So it only recognizes like 3 things, which are stop, go, or emergency.
Yeah.
Make it play the emergency tones over and over again. But the reason they did that is because people were plugging in their computers and stuff to any port, or mainly their phones to charge, and if they were full of viruses, they'd just infect everything, but it didn't go plant-wide, it just went to one section of the line.
Huh.
But now I've heard they're doing away with that. So let the whole thing get knocked out. I've always had a weird view about, it's like we're sending all these drones and all these Hellfire missiles at these terrorists. Those people have never really affected my life greatly, doing propaganda videos in the Middle East, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Hellfire missile over the shoulder of some Russian hacker. People are really making life miserable. I mean, everything's a new password, a chip thing for your credit cards. You can't pay anything. It's because the hackers are doing it. It's like, let's send a few drones.
Do you know what that chip does?
Supposedly, it's a more secure. No, actually, I don't. It's been loosely explained to me it's a more secure network. It's like, didn't they breach this the week after it came out? Well, yeah, but it's more secure. Okay, that's so. I don't know any of the specifics of how it works.
Yeah, me neither. I never looked into it. It's just
It was done in reaction to what happened at Target. It's why you don't run your debit card as a debit card anywhere. And if anyone tries to say, "Oh, you can't run it as you have to run it as debit, you can't run it. You have to put your PIN number." So you don't put your PIN number in because there's people skimming your PIN numbers all the time. So you just run it as credit. If they try to force you to do it, then that's when you whip out the checkbook. It's like, well, I'm going to pay for this with a check. Oh, we don't accept checks. It's like, well, you're not going to sell anything today. Whatever you want. And eventually they'll, either take a check or call their manager so they can let you run it as a credit card. Yeah, see, they don't want to pay the fees for running it as a credit card, but I don't want to pay the fees of having my entire bank account emptied out. And they're a large corporation. I'm but a poor peasant, so they can pay the credit card fees and pass it on to me, which is what they're doing anyway.
Yeah, I think that's something with Costco that they do because they suddenly switched. Apparently, you can only pay with credit card, American Express credit card for like the last 20 years at Costco,
Yeah.
and then they suddenly switched to Visa, but now they're not taking Amex anymore. So I guess they save money by just going through one credit card carrier.
Everyone I know that went to Costco wrote checks.
Yeah.
Now I'm back with Sam's now because I like their food. Like, where else can you get 5 ribeyes for $39? They're giant. Yeah, that's I do remember Costco doing something like that. 'Cause everyone always wrote checks there. Bounce those. You wrote a $500 check for toilet paper.
Yeah, because they were talking about that on the Bombcast recently.
Yeah.
Because I guess Jeff only had American Express forever, and then they suddenly got rid of it. He's like, "Well, fuck that! I don't have Visa."
Yeah, I think I have Visa. I don't really have any credit cards anymore.
Yeah.
You got tired of me. You're paying your bills off and not maintaining a balance. Fuck you. Oh, this is a bad thing. Guess I found out it was. Impact your credit. It's like, oh, if I'm not in debt, I guess I got to go run up some debt.
But no, they were talking about the weird. They're comparing Costco to Walmart and stuff like that. Now, the weird counterculture of Walmart under siege.
You mean like the public's reaction to Walmart?
No, it's like that. The story was about like one particular Walmart, but it extends to a bunch of them. Where basically they don't have enough employees on the floor anymore, and they cut their asset protection down. So they're just cutting costs by getting rid of people. So now there's just swarms of thieves going all over Walmart.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
We have the swarthy people from Eastern Europe around here. It's like I'm walking around the store like, no, none of these guys are here to buy a fucking thing. Everyone is, and they're not like artful dodgers. Like they're not like pickpockets where I didn't know that happened. He's so ninja like. No, these are guys about my size just pulling their pants out and stuffing like big thing of movies or something down their pants and walking out the door. It's like, oh yeah, and the alarm goes off all the time.
Yeah.
Somebody comes and presses the button. Yeah, this is.
But they were talking about now they're just like cops that are just on duty at Walmart now.
Oh, that's the answer.
Yeah, just don't hire employees, and then let the government take care of it.
So not only has Walmart, and this is according to some stuff I heard, like their employees, half of them are on food stamps, and no one can make a decent living there. so they're draining the public trust that way. Now they're using all the civil services. It's like, where are all the police at Walmart? Because somebody decided they wanted to steal that big bottle of Irish Spring, or there's not really shit to steal at Walmart. I mean, I guess there is.
But the day was especially weird because apparently I was like the only one working at Walmart, so I had people like walking all the way across the store just to find an employee to help them. When I go back to the break room, they're all fucking there, so I don't. They just...
Yeah, we can always find them somewhere. Where were you? The parts of the store are on fire. Oh, smoke break. Oh, okay. Well, get that in. I love that.
So I picked up Gears of War 4. Been playing that.
Yeah, my son was playing that.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's good to see that they've carried on, I guess, the new I think it's the Collective. Well, it's a different developer, so it's nice to see that they just kind of picked it up, running.
They didn't like change it all.
No. Well, I mean, they made some changes and to the gameplay, then they're kind of slight, and you can it makes it more of a fluidy action kind of thing. I played it on a harder difficulty, so you couldn't be as brazen as you wanted to be.
Yeah.
Because you can do stuff where like if there's an enemy behind a wall, you can like run up and then like you'll do like this running hop over the wall, and then you'll like kick them, and then that stuns them, and then you can just go in for a quick kill.
Right.
But on like harder difficulty, like you do that, and then you just immediately get shot because you're like in front of the cover, and the other guys are behind them. But there's also a grab move, which is like if you're like on the other side of cover and there's another guy like on the other side of the wall, and you can just like hit forward and X, and you'll just like reach over and like you can pull the guy and like flow him, like bring him back over to your side, and then you can just stab him real quick.
Huh.
But like when they teach you that move, it's like a stealth section. But they don't tell you that you can just like do that at any time in the game, because there's never a stealth section ever again in the game. So you think that you'll never use that again because you won't think to, but it's actually like really useful.
Huh.
And it does require like kind of aiming. Like if you're not lined up exactly where the guy is on the other side, then you won't grab him. You'll just like grab and miss, and then you'll just be standing up taking fire the whole time.
Oh, I see.
So. That's fine with that.
They'll have the chainsaws on the end of the gun.
Oh yeah, of course.
I like that. They need to make that a reality.
Oh yeah, they've made a toy thing of it. There's probably somebody has somewhat of a working model of it.
Yeah, they really need to make that a reality for everyone, including people in the armed forces. That would be perfect.
And the new characters are pretty good. Like they're kind of punchy. Like they're fun. It's like because like Gears of War is always pretty dire, so this is like a pretty lighthearted dire going on.
Yeah, but Grayson said it was like 25 years from the last game.
Yeah, because you're playing the son of Marcus Phoenix.
Oh, okay.
And so they kind of get more into the backstory, but not really. Like that was always like the interesting thing about Gears of War, is that they always like they did more with less by basically not telling any backstory or exposition like almost ever.
Yeah. You just knew there was something called the Pendulum Wars.
Yeah.
Know anything about the dynamics of them, and there was something called Emergence Day. Didn't really know much about what went on then.
And you realize like what it's like. Well, that's actually like you realize because like that all that shit is really interesting as like a Wikipedia entry, but as like the beginning third act explanation of like what you've been doing the whole time would be like an hour slog of just boring exposition.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they just kind of like, let's just not tell that story.
Yeah, screw it.
It'll be in the background if people can write their own story.
Sometimes that works out for the best.
Yeah, I think for Gears of War.
Sometimes the exposition ruins it. It's like, well, that's not what I wanted. All of a sudden, this game sucks when we're perfectly fine with it before.
Well, they're definitely picking up because, like, when you get to the end of Gears of War 3, there's some major questions that they don't even fucking address.
Like, did civilization just collapse? Yeah.
Well, no, like what's the biggest? Or what do you think the biggest question in the Gears of War franchise is?
The biggest question in the Gears of War: why is everyone so broad? The heavy gravity planet. No, it was always the like, what are the origins of the locusts and what
Yeah.
yeah, that's
All right, go a little bit further. Do you remember like the stories of 2 and 3?
vaguely. Oh, I know they had like the locust, and then they had the lambent, and it had something to do with their energy source,
Yeah,
mutating everyone. And okay, yeah,
but you remember the Locust Queen?
vaguely. I remember seeing her.
Well, you remember how it's like a human being,
Yeah, yeah, I knew it was something. It was
You-
almost
and you know how they like never explain that whatsoever.
it seemed a little StarCraft to me, a little StarCrafty.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's always the thing that the one of the another one of the big questions is like, because there's always like this distrust in the government. Because like the first thing you do in the first Gears of War is you break this dude out of prison,
Yeah,
or you get broken out of prison because shit's going down, and they need you. And like why you're in prison is because like nobody trusts the government, but suddenly there's a war where everyone has to trust the government. So they kind of get back to like, the 25 years of peace, and there's now this distrust in the government, and so many people are killed, and now there's, repopulation efforts that are being headed by the government.
yeah.
And there's like a bunch of robots that are just like building infrastructure for like people that don't yet live there.
Yeah, Grayson told me I could play it when he's done.
And then what was the other stuff? Yeah, but yeah, you're never really sure like, were the locusts there the whole time, or were they created or whatever. Because now you have like a thing they focus on here, but they don't delve into it too much. But it seems like what they're trying to go for is a new wrinkle to the Earth, well, it's not Earth, but whatever planet they're on. It's called wind flares.
Okay.
Which are basically just giant tornadoes with lightning that kills people. So it's just exceptionally like violent weather.
Now, what are they using for energy in this game?
I think solar and stuff, or they're just the energy you see. I'm not sure if they're using the emulsion stuff still, because there's the problem with that. But you see, I mean, in this game you see a water plant and there's like solar stuff, but they might have something else, but they didn't really go into it too much.
Because that was always their problem, was their energy source was killing them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here they go, and there's like a little backstory into like the Hammer of Dawn, and you see, and you play these like backstory montages from the Pendulum Wars, where the Hammer of Dawn was under development during the Pendulum Wars, and somebody stole it, and just as they're about ready to utilize it, that's when Emergence Day happened, and then the Hammer of Dawn saves them from, saves humanity somewhat from Emergence Day or whatever.
Yeah.
So they kind of like, it's like multiple sequences that are going into the backstory of the Hammer of Dawn, and then like it just disappears, and like you have the Hammer of Dawn, I believe, in the entirety of the game, except for that backstory bit. So I'm thinking the Hammer of Dawn is probably the cause of these wind flares.
Oh, okay. That's always something when they first introduced that, it's like, we need to build one of those. Just have it orbiting above the planet.
Just like in Fear the Sky.
Yeah. Just have stuff like that floating around. We build it, control it, never acknowledge it. Other countries point it out and be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
A boat suddenly exploded in the ocean. What happened? Tests.
Yes. The ocean's a mysterious place. Used to believe there were sea monsters under it. Now maybe they're above it.
But yeah, a lot of the in between dialogue's pretty like funny or whatever, or it's well written for a lighter kind of like trio of characters.
Yeah.
And when you get to Marcus, it's not a spoiler. Like he's in the trailer. Like the sequence with him is pretty fucking funny because it's completely ridiculous. To hear him like yell, "Oh my fucking tomato plants!" It's like really fucking funny.
Yeah, I always appreciated the depths of darkness the first three would go to. When they're lifting, like, oh, we're gonna play the song from the Suicide theme from Donnie Darko, and we're gonna come up with the grimmest stories possible.
I mean, it's still pretty grim here, but in this instance, it's sort of in like, this is the rebuilding phase, and so then shit starts going down again. So it's not they haven't been exposed to the depths of depravity that war can bring to them yet, but
Not yet.
yeah. There's all sorts of like government distrust and things like that.
Was the cog still around, or is it called
Yeah,
something?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
still just the cog. And what was I guess? Oh yeah, there's one character's named Dell, and there's always moments you have on where he's trying to say something is ironic, and then JD, that's JD Marcus, that's the son of Marcus, or
Yeah.
JD Phoenix or whatever. He's the son of Marcus. And like there's one part where he's in a power plant and he's just like, "Oh, a power plant without power, that's ironic, right?" And he's like, "It sucks, but no, it's not ironic." There's just a couple moments where he keeps trying to say things are ironic. He's like, "Nope, that's not irony."
This is an infrastructure problem.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh, okay.
They didn't fuck it up.
Well, good. I'll have to check that out. Grayson seemed to. He was a little ambivalent at first. And he was kind of asking me about it. And it's like, well, what do I think about spending $60? Yeah, it must be a terrible game. But, of course, that
Hey.
line of reasoning didn't work.
You didn't have to buy the $100 edition, so.
This is true. That was floated to me. It's like, what do you get for that?
Yeah, you just get. Yeah, I'm not sure what you really get for that one. I know what you got if I bought that one for Forza Horizon 3,
Yeah.
but I didn't spend $100 on it
Oh, okay.
because I bought the disc from Amazon and I'm a Prime member, so it ended up being like $65 for the $100 edition to pre-order it.
Well, that worked out good.
Yeah, so that's why I bought that. But I thought I was getting like the cross thing, but like you have to do it digitally. So now if you buy it on the Xbox store, you can play it for your PC or Xbox One. So I played Gears of War 4 on my PC.
Oh, okay.
So
Well, that's cool.
and then I played some more Mafia 3.
Still hanging in there with that. Still enjoying that.
Yeah, the story kind of, once you get past that first hour, like it starts to go into the open world, shooter stuff. So the story kind of slows down a bit, and you're kind of like doing, like, it kind of gets repetitive, but still pretty cool. And there's a lot of like world stuff that's interesting. So, like you'll walk. You'll be sometime like you'll have to go into a restaurant and get something, and then like you'll hear whispers of racial epithets. And like the owner will get up and he's like, "What are you doing in here?" And you're like, "What the fuck's wrong with everybody?" And when you walk outside the establishment, you'll see a sign on the wall that says "No colors allowed." It's like, "Oh yeah, fucking racist."
I forgot about that.
There'll be like news reports like talking about Nixon, like he's like how he's saying like. It's like they're comparing like a lot of crime as a result of bad schools and poverty and lack of jobs or whatever, and Nixon's like, no, that's it's
The Russian
yeah.
communists.
You actually pick up communist propaganda in this too, like the Playboys and the other stuff in records. You can pick up records and look at real records, but you can also pick up communist propaganda.
Weird.
Which I don't know if it's real communist propaganda. I have to assume it is, but
Could be. It could have been Hoover's COINTEL program.
yeah. Well, so I like some of the Playboys. They have like the actual articles in it. Like they have like an interview with the Beatles from one of them, which is almost is kind of like unfortunate because it's like, oh yeah, this is the '60s. Like they should have Beatles music, but there's no fucking way they can afford Beatles music for this.
We got 2 more to go before the rights to that are for sale.
Yeah. But it does have it does have a crazy soundtrack. It's just full of great music from the '60s. It's got like 6 Creedence Clearwater songs, of course.
Yeah.
It's got all your standard Vietnam era like rock and roll music.
Gonna Run Through the Jungle.
What's Run Through the Jungle?
It's a Creedence song.
Maybe? I can't remember it.
Probably. I don't know.
I mean, they got Born on the Bayou, and I'm not sure if they have Fortunate Son. And the start screen is Jimi Hendrix All Along the Watchtower. And then they have Paint It Black by Rolling Stones. And
Yeah.
a bunch of Temptation stuff. Just a lot of music. And then you got some you got Johnny Cash stuff too, and then you have like that one song. I'm not sure. This has to be like a '50s song. I'm not sure, but you remember that song Palisades Park?
Vaguely.
Where it's like down in Palisades Park. Da, 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 da.
Oh. Yeah, I think that is a 50s song. Late 50s.
Yeah, so they have some like 50 songs in there too. Some country songs. So yeah, then and there's like environmental stuff for like when you're in rich neighborhoods, there's more presence of cops, and they're more suspicious of you just because you're black in this white neighborhood. Or if you're driving in a nice car, they'll be suspicious of you.
So that's pretty much unchanged.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unfortunately, like you can't really like make a they can't really make like a statement with that, because in a game where all you do is run around and kill people, it's like everyone has the right to be suspicious of you because you're murdering people constantly.
You're not playing Martin Luther King. Yeah, you are actually a criminal and a murderer.
But they do make a distinction. Like, if you're fighting the mob and you like punch them, like you'll like stab them to death or like shoot them in the head when you get in like melee combat. But if you fight a cop, you'll just knock them out. You won't kill them. Like if you kill a cop, you actually have to like shoot them. But if you just punch them or whatever, you'll just knock a cop out. Same thing with civilians. Like sometimes you'll steal a car and then like they'll go call the cops. You can like chase them down and knock them out, but you won't kill them. You'd have to actually like pull out the gun and shoot them intentionally. So there's like a distinction between like what you do with civilians and cops. But then when you meet with the mob, it's like you can kill people with impunity, and like nobody will call the cops as long as all the people you killed are just mobsters.
Yeah, I can get more Game of Thrones with mobsters. Yeah.
I mean, they will run away and scream, but they won't call the cops. Yeah, like Prayer Online, it becomes essential as you can just call somebody to bring a car to you, because there's no fast travel in this game, so it kind of makes some parts suck. But then you can just call in a car and they'll get there in like 10 seconds, so it's not too bad. Because like every time you steal a car, somebody's calling the cops, and running away from the cops, like it takes an effort to get away from them sometimes.
Yeah.
Like more than it should. There's also like you can also just like bribe cops immediately before or after you commit a crime. So if you know you're about to do something, you can call the cops ahead of time and bribe them. It's like, I don't respond to this.
Probably happier with that because they don't have to actually go anywhere.
So yeah, all that stuff's it's interesting, and a lot of the flavor to it's still pretty interesting. But so it's become an open world revenge tale. So it's not quite like the first like 2 hours of that game is almost like a Scorsese movie you're playing out, and then right now it's just kind of it's a GTA game. So.
Oh, okay. let's say I played with my airbrush tonight for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, finished my Sherman tank.
Already? Oh shit! I thought you were gonna spend like 3 months on that thing.
Well, I finished assembling it. This is the one.
Yeah.
The one. I finished assembling it pretty quickly. It's the painting that's gonna take.
Oh okay.
Because and I'm actually working on older models I had at first, because I like redid I got like a weathering kit thing.
Yeah.
How you make battle damage, and so I've been doing that. I'm starting out on old kits first because I don't want to start on the new ones until I figure out what I want to do. But yeah, a book you bought me inspired me to make a purchase. I remember this book, Tales from the Loop.
Yeah.
I love the mechs in this, and just the giant robots sitting around. And I did kind of a general search. I've been looking for mech type robots that weren't like the Gundam type, because those are like big transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got this. This is I don't know. This is like 80s Japanese.
I do not recognize that one.
Yeah, the Machinen Krieger universe, which is Japanese. Basically, they built a story around models they were creating in the 80s.
Huh.
And I don't know anything about it, and I'm not like wildly interested in it, but I love the robots.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I'm gonna take that, that's a horribly expensive model, but that's a Hasegawa. Those are really, really, really expensive. I've never spent that much on a model. $100 fucking model.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was really expensive. It's about this big though when it's done.
Oh, okay.
It's I'm gonna show you that amazed me about this. When of course it's gonna be fun to take apart, but yeah, it's just there's little details in here that really like look at I don't know if you can see that, like that's the glass bulb in the front. I mean, that's plastic.
Yeah.
Look how clear and nice that looks and shit.
Yeah.
It's, oh, that's really cool, and part of it's meant to be painted. And there's really no paint scheme with these. Like, no one's expecting this. You kind of do your own thing, because they don't. This went out of existence and then came back in existence, and then yeah, it's a really expensive, nice models. But I'm gonna go with a paint scheme.
Is that one from the 80s, or is that kind of like their retro revival?
No, the ones. Remember, I told you there was some weird. I thought they were German models.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they were like $1,500. Those are the ones made by Nitto from the 80s, or Nito, or however you say it. Yeah, those are like super collectible, wildly expensive. These are modern reproductions of those.
Okay, okay.
So it's cool looking mech, but instead of costing thousands of dollars for people that are fans of something I don't exactly understand, I just like the robots. I'm just like,
yeah.
What do you know about that? Nothing. I heard there was a movie made about it. Great. It's Japanese stories. It's all aesthetics and visuals and no real storytelling. So, or at least to my American mindset. But so I like the robots, and there was a book I really liked, and it's like I'm gonna go with the kind of the theme and the color schemes from that book.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Make a robot that's just gonna kind of sit there and look old and like it's sitting in a field in Sweden. So yeah, I'm $400 into this flight of fancy now. So we'll see where this goes.
Super Star Destroyer's next. This whole room's gonna need us.
Yeah, we're gonna need to knock out a wall.
Yeah, I think I was
probably won't even get into that. I mean, that might be like next year I'll start that, because I'm still working on the Sherman tanks.
Yeah. Yeah, I got back into Legos for a little bit there, especially the Star Wars ones, and those ones were outrageously expensive. And
yeah,
they had a Super Star Destroyer. It's like $600.
Yeah,
but the thing's like it's like 8 feet long or something like that. It's crazy. And but instead of buying that, I just watched somebody assemble it.
It's like the unboxing YouTube channels. It's like, I'm not going to buy that, but I'm going to watch someone else take it out of the box so I can get kind of the vibe, but without being $1,000 in.
This was early in the tested days, like back when Giant Bomb was Whiskey Media and they had like their different groups. And so Giant Bomb had the endurance run where it was like daily content where they play a game every day. And so Tested came up with their version of that where it's called like the build or something like that. And so like every day for half an hour they did a show where they were like building these models next to each other and just kind of like talking, and they were kind of in competition because one guy had a Death Star that was about 1,200 pieces, and the other guy had the it was like 4,000 pieces, and then some guy had the Super Star Destroyer which is like also around 4,000 pieces.
Yeah.
So the one guy, so at the end of it, and it's like, you know, like 60 episodes later when they're finally done building this, the guy like picks up the Star Destroyer and like kind of like flies it around and just fucking chucks it at the wall.
God, really?
Yeah.
Good point.
Oh, it was great. You can see he was like so happy and horrified by what he had done.
Wow.
And I think he chucked it at the Death Star too, so both of them were fucked. Like because now they have
The movie? Our Super Star Destroyer crashing into Death Star?
yeah.
This isn't the same scale, but fuck it. Yeah, that's horror. I never got that. That's always been kind of horrifying to me.
What?
Well, just doing something. I guess if work was paying for it,
Yeah.
it was kind of at the end of this, you got to destroy it. Okay, bye. Like personal stuff, yeah, I could never, unless I got angry.
Well, I mean, a lot of it, like some of it just shattered, but like there's like three main pieces that stayed together, and you could just put them back together. I think they were talking about on a podcast later on where they put it back together, but they're missing like three pieces. But they're like, fuck it. It's like, oh, well, you're not gonna notice three pieces missing.
Yeah, like this model, you're into the good high end. This is going to be a pain in the ass model, and the instructions aren't even largely in English. They are in English, and English, I should say. There is some English because I read through the instructions, but most of them are in Japanese and the weird simulated German that this universe has. That the Japanese simulate the German because took over Earth or whatever the backstory is to this. They're called the Strahl Republic, and they were the descendants of people from Germany and Austria. So all these things are based. So they kind of have like the semi-Germanic language, but the simulated because they'll have a German, like a partial German word, but then with a Japanese character in it sideways. Like,
yeah,
what are they trying to communicate here? I don't speak either language, but I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
I think there's like kind of a subsect of Japanese anime that's like German focused.
Yeah,
because or at least robot because I believe there's an anime fairly popular one called Armitage, and they did so it's it's a robot lady and stuff like that, and giant robots fighting each other, but I believe that's all like German focused, like all the characters are supposed to be Germans or whatever, and making robots and shit.
Because the artwork on this box is very like it's I mean, it's got its own cool, the way they boxed it is really cool, but it has like a kind of it looks like this is how to drive the Tiger tank from World War II, like that kind of feel to it. Like it's old and slightly yellowed, and you could tell it's purely just an aesthetic. But yeah, the Machine and Krieger universe it's some kind of it's actually the only Japanese comic / adventure that was originally based around models. The models came first, and the story and stuff came after, and it's one of the few things done like that. But I don't know much about it. And like I said,
I mean, you could say that about G.I. Joe or Transformers. Like those were shows that were created based on the toys.
Yeah, but I just, like I said, these things very much reminded me of the stuff in this book. So it's like, well, I'm gonna take two things I like, giant robots and kind of empty art books, and
that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
can't wait to see it.
Well, he'll be waiting a while because, like I said, I've been told the funding is running out on. It's weird. It's like the paint you buy, even. Like this is the Vallejo paints. They're made. There's not a word of English on this. What? There's Spanish, there's German, and that's it. That's all that's on this paint.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm just kind of in the wilderness here. I mean, I go to the internet and oh, that's how you do it. Okay.
Somebody was talking about this stuff. Maybe it was you, and last time we were talking about, but like you were talking about like this. Yeah, you're talking about how this hobby is like an old man's hobby, so just
Yeah.
nobody does it anymore, and like that definitely makes sense with Japan, because they have like a pretty large elderly population that kind of controls everything. So
Right.
maybe it's why the best models are in Japan. And
Well,
then
I think too with the Japanese, their minds have always worked. It's like, oh, how elaborate and intricate can we make something really small?
yeah.
Because the biggest hobby trains in Japan are the in-scale trains. Those are the ones that are roughly the size of your pinky. Like that's their model trains. And a lot of people say, well, they don't have a lot of space over there. That's true, but that's also these you can get these super tiny, super detailed trains, and they seem to be drawn to things like that.
Yeah.
And
And then Germans are just crazy.
yeah, Germans are just crazy.
How can we engineer this? Oh, fuck. Just have fun, Sven. No.
Like in this like there's I got a whole thing here about just how to weather a model. Like that's the whole subject of this. They have like, first you brush the primer on, or first you put the primer on, then you put the paint on, then you seal the paint, then you do the weathering, which you have to do that behind a sealer, because what weathering kits are just the regular paints just diluted with thinner,
Huh.
so it seeps in all the cracks and makes them look dark and stuff.
Yeah.
And then after you do that and let that dry, then you seal over that. Then you do what they call pigment and damage, which is like you just knock chips out of it and paint it silver, or all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
And then you put this stuff on it that looks like powder, and that simulates rust, how rust looks on metal.
Yeah.
And then you spray a binder over that, so it's pigment that looks like the synthetic rust on. Then, like for exhaust pipes and stuff, you can use this stuff called Mr. Surface, and that's a completely Japanese name, and you just put the primer. It's like a primer on, but you put it on, and then the next layer you mix half with thinner, and you put that on, and then you paint it like a rusty, like multiple color, and it looks like a fucking exhaust pipe, and it really does. It looks like an aging, flaky, rusty exhaust pipe. It's like that stuff's all new. They weren't doing that when I was building models before.
Yeah.
They could do something sort of like it, but this is like, oh, we're gonna sprinkle powder on it and seal it, and holy shit, it looks like rust.
Yeah, I remember I did something like when I was painting a snow speeder. I was like kind of vaguely looking up the stuff, and I had an airbrush, and I painted it black first, and then I painted it white, and it almost had like a pre-weathering effect, because like where the white paint didn't get, it made it look like that's where like some sort of like surface abrasion happened or whatever, and it's like, that kind of looks cool, like it's incomplete painting process, but it looks somewhat weathered.
Yeah, and the like I put the primer down on my Sherman, and it's like, oh, this acrylic paint, because once I put the primer down, then it's like, well, you let that dry. Oh, time to clean out the air gun. Basically use fucking water. It's like, hey, good to go. We're not like stripping layers of our skin and scrubbing years off our life, exposing ourselves to paint.
So what's the advantage over the paint you got over like, your standard, what's it, Testerone paint?
Well, tester?
Yeah, is it tester? Okay.
Well, everything's going to acrylic because oil-based paints are just,
No, but I mean like the ones you got where it just has German writing and stuff compared to like, normal ass.
Oh, this stuff is pretty much from what this says Model Air. So this stuff is made.
Oh, it's made for the air gun.
Yeah, because you don't have to thin it or thicken it.
Okay.
Which is a lot of the stuff you buy, you have to put like a thinner or a thickener. They even have a retarder you can put in so it doesn't dry so quickly. And then they have something called a flatter you put in. So like with this orange paint, this is kind of a glossy paint. So if I'm and all my other paints are flat because like industrial and military stuff has a flat affect to it.
Yeah.
So when I put this in, I put like 5 drops of this in and 1 drop of flattener in, and this will come out like a flat orange.
Huh.
Like it'll be like a glossy orange right next to a flat white background or something. So that yeah, it's all kinds of vague.
Build yourself a rescue chopper.
Yeah. Anything. I have found though in the world of models that looking for specifically going for giant mech models, you're unless you like the Transformers looking Gundam stuff, you're kind of in the weeds. It's like yeah, they don't make a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
But the good news is they had a huge model in there. Remember the giant coal shoveling crane from Germany? It's like the thing.
It's like a chainsaw of shovels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have a model of that.
Okay.
It's like they actually made a model of that. Oh yeah, it's like $300. It's like got thousands of pieces. It's like who? That's actually kind of cool. Of course, I would have to do it like in a Rust theme, like knock a bunch of the lights off because I don't want to be like they dug too deep in the earth, and they released a Balrog. Yeah, I would make some weird backstory to go along with it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, is there big demand for that as a model? I guess maybe I don't know.
I mean, it's a one-off, you know.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's one. I think isn't that the largest machine in the world?
I think so.
Yeah. I think the only shit that was bigger than that was like the NASA tracked vehicles they used to take the space shuttle to
Yeah.
launch.
Yeah.
It's kind of in that genre of giant, just like incredible. Like that thing moves. It's a building that moves. Oh manzies. But yeah. What happened?
Have you found a tunnel boring machine? That'd be kind of interesting.
I want the model of the tunnel machine. It's weird what they do and don't have models of though.
Wait, what don't they have?
There's not a lot like artillery stuff.
I guess I could see that.
Things like that. Like they have a lot of World War II military stuff, and they do have some that's like artillery crew, but they don't have like you think they'd have like a working. I'd like one of those models you could build for that. Like this is how it works, and partially see the inside of it. And like I said, they don't have a lot of giant robot stuff. They don't have a lot of industrial. I mean, they do, but they don't. You know.
a lot of them. I mean, the main stay of model building is like airplanes and cars, right?
Yeah, and then that stuff from the tabletop gaming is really huge too.
Okay.
Like the Warhammer and that kind of stuff. Like that store is. I would say that store is probably a third of that.
Yeah, yeah.
The Warhammer, like tanks and paint your soldiers and all that type of stuff. Which that stuff sort of looks cool, but some of it's a little too cartoony.
Yeah, but I don't know. That's just kind of its aesthetic.
Yeah,
You can paint it up to change the aesthetic. So
I did like the tank with like the multiple gun turrets,
yeah.
all 4 corners, and it had the big main turret. It's like that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I got some Chaos Marines, and like they have a bunch of chain swords, and then I just started putting I started cutting them to pieces and like attaching the chain sword to the end of a rifle and just having chainsaw rifles and shit like that. This isn't in the game, but I don't give a shit. It looks cool.
This works. I like the what was the other? Oh, they had the Star Blazers, old and new. They had
Oh
those.
yeah.
Yeah.
They have the Yamato.
Yeah, well, they have the new one and they have the old one. Because I think they rebooted that or something.
Okay, yeah.
Based on the models I'm seeing, it's like what they're calling the Yamato, and it says Star Blazers on it. It looks nothing like the Yamato from the the American Star Blazers from the 80s. I don't know about the Japanese one. The Japanese one was the same. It just had kind of a different story.
Yeah.
But yeah, they got some cool stuff. Yeah, they have a lot of cars. I like weird cars now. 1984 Caprice. It's like every kid wants to build a model of those. AMC Gremlin. Yeah.
That's just probably some weird nostalgia thing. Like, I remember owning that when I was a shitty little kid.
They don't have one for my favorite BMW. The 1984 BMW 3 Series.
Was that the Bond one?
Yeah. No. These were they were everywhere, but
Okay.
they were the coolest looking BMWs. Like, that really stood out. I don't know what happened to them. They don't make cars that really stand out. I mean, you can tell what they are, but those ones they had in the mid to early 80s were really cool looking.
Yeah. Somehow they're kind of like stout and had big tires, but they looked elegant as well.
Yeah. Well, they had the double rounded headlights side by side.
Yeah.
The quadruple headlights, which always look cool. Like, and that grill, you knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a BMW. Now they look.
I think really they just fucked up the grill.
Yeah.
I think the grill just doesn't look like a BMW grill anymore.
Yeah.
Now it just kind of
Well,
looks
now
like now it kind of just looks like a vague Austin Martin or something.
Yeah. It still has the double humps in it, but just don't stand out as much. The one who's really come back big with their looks is Audi.
Yeah.
Especially the more expensive ones with that kind of flat wraparound trunk.
Yeah.
Sort of looks like what an XJ Jaguar used to in the 80s.
Yeah.
That's a really cool look. But you don't see those car models.
Right. Would that be one you'd look for? Like, what's the car you want to build, and what's a plane you want to build?
I don't plane. I've always liked the C-130. It's just cool. It's almost like a retro plane in a way. This big prop-driven plane.
Do you want the Spectre gunship, or just regular ass C-130 Hercules?
I want the silver-hulled Hercules, just
Okay.
the regular one.
Vietnam era C-130.
Yeah. Just kind of the cool looking. It's like, this can take off in 50 feet. No way. It doesn't look agile enough.
I think I'd want to build like a Strato Fortress.
Yeah, those are cool.
Just because like has like there'd be a lot of intricate interior work maybe, and like the bubble canopy and stuff like that.
Yeah. B1 would be a cool one.
And then I'm not sure about car. I was like the Lamborghini, is it Countach, something like that? It's
Something like that.
oh no, not the Countach. What is it? Oh shit, it's the Reventon. I think that's what it's called. They basically Lamborghini built a Lamborghini that has the same aesthetics of a stealth fighter. So there's like no round edges to it. Like everything comes to like a weird triangle point on it. Every like bevel or whatever. It's a really fucking cool looking car.
I'll look that up.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of cool cars, the new the Top Gear, the BBC Top Gear guy that got fired, him and his buddies.
Oh, the Grand Tour stuff, guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
That starts in November.
Okay, November? Okay.
That should be good.
Probably.
I always liked that guy. That guy's a horrible asshole, but he's fun to listen to. It's kind of like, he's like Britain's older Adam Carolla.
Yeah.
The same kind of guy, just British.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a real asshole, but goddamn is he funny. And he likes to punch Piers Morgan. So I'm always down with that. It's like, oh, you punched Piers Morgan? Let me shake your hand. You can have him back now.
I can't remember. Why did he get kicked off that show? He just was an asshole to somebody?
He had... The BBC's real, they're just their version of network TV, just like our their people are real, they're just infected with this disease of like, don't offend anyone, don't say anything bad. And he had constantly been at nines with management over shit he'd say. He made some comment like in India about, the fastest thing in India is how quick can you get to the bathroom from the dinner table. You really need to make a car that does that over here because everyone gets what do you call it, the trots. It means diarrhea. and that offended a lot of people over there. And then I think he slapped a producer or
Oh,
something.
yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last straw. But there had been a series of things, and then they'd kind of they'd be like, "Why don't you just apologize?" And after a while, it's like, "Fuck you! Why am I going to keep saying things and apologizing for them? Obviously, I don't care." So there had been a lot of problems between him and management over there. But the stuff I heard from the 2-hour thing they did with Ricky Gervais about working with the BBC, it's like, oh, okay, this is absolutely what a pain in the ass.
What was I gonna? Did you happen to see the new MacGyver? Because I haven't.
No, I haven't. I watched some Arrow.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, because it's on Netflix for, like, I went to look it up on demand and they had like the 5th season only.
Yeah.
Fuck. And then I went to Netflix and I watched like the first 6 episodes or something. All binged it out.
Oh, okay.
I haven't had a chance to revisit it since last week.
That's alright. But did you like what you saw?
Yeah, it's got some interesting elements. It's like, boy, that fucking secret identity gets blown out of the fucking doors after 3rd episode. It's like, who knows now? Your bodyguard, the evil chick who wants to kill the Russian mobsters, everyone has their identity at this point.
Yeah, that constantly happens. And like that guy, the guy who plays there is Stephen Amell. He kind of becomes a better actor as the show goes on, because there's not really great actors in this show, but
No.
it still works regardless. Like
This is like the Canadian B team.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, so far so good.
Yeah, I went through the 4th season. That it ended up being like a pretty bad season.
Oh,
but,
okay.
but those first 2 seasons are pretty good. I think the 3rd season's all right. I can't remember enough. I just remember the first 2 seasons being really good. I think around the 3rd season, the flashback stuff is a little forced, and especially in the 4th season, all the flashback stuff is really forced.
Just gets too ridiculous.
Well, it's like because it's supposed to be he was on that island for 5 years, so it's now we're gonna spend the next 5 seasons having this backstory. Is like at some point, but like the flashback backstory always coincides with what's happening in the main story, and like I know there's like symmetry to that makes it nice, but it just seems too far-fetched and ridiculous that everything that happened and chronologically back on the island is is somewhat reoccurring now.
Yeah, and you've already pretty much mined that well if this for 5 seasons in.
Yeah, I mean that's why that's why Lost rejuvenated stuff where it's like, oh, now we're going to do the flash forward episodes, like it's going to change up the formula.
Or we're gonna go back to the 70s or the
Yeah.
80s. Yeah. Let's see what else.
I saw an unfortunate movie.
What's that?
Or I saw a movie I really wanted to like, and it was terrible. I saw 13 Rounds. It's 13 Rounds 3 Lockdown. I think that's what it's called.
I don't remember the first 2.
No, you shouldn't. The first one was it was a John Cena movie. He's a wrestler.
Okay.
And it was basically kind of Die Hard with a Vengeance, but with Littlefinger as the crazy guy.
Oh, okay.
And then John Cena as the hero guy. And then there was a 13 Rounds 2, and that one was direct to video. And that started a different wrestler, Randy Orton. He was like a paramedic, and then he got caught up in some crazy scheme. And this is 13 Rounds 3, and this stars another wrestler. What's his name? Dean Ambrose.
Okay.
And he's a really good wrestler. His character is just a crazy guy. And then this movie, it's just Die Hard with cops. It's Die Hard in a police precinct.
Oh, okay.
And you got corrupt cops and stuff in it. And then I wanted a lot because I like Dean Ambrose, but he's not a great actor, and the story is terribly told, and like the action's okay. And it's like at every moment, it's like, would you give a guy like if I had 3 days to write the story, I would have written a better story. And just really bad, really bad dialogue.
Just real formulaic dialogue.
Yeah, like almost like somebody wrote something and then they got to the day and it's like, this isn't working, and then they just let people talk off the cuff. And that's what they came up with. It's like, yeah, I think that works. And like, nope.
Let's get everyone drunk in the writer's room and see what happens. Or get them a bunch of cocaine. Look how smart I am. Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
And this kind of, and like he did this movie, like they had a storyline when he did this movie where he got his face smashed into concrete, and like he was like in the hospital, he was supposed to be in the hospital, quote unquote, for like 2 months, but he was like shooting this movie like when they did that stunt or whatever. And that kind of like, and that was like probably the highest point in his career so far of what he was doing at that time, because he got betrayed. He was in this group called the Shield, and he got betrayed by one of his guys, and like so he'd constantly get revenge on the guy, and he'd just pop up out of nowhere, like he'd pop up out of a dumpster and hit him with a baseball bat and shit like that.
Weird.
Yeah, or like he'd get in his car, and then like he'd be in the trunk of the car. He'd get out and like beat the car to death with a golf club or whatever. It was like this. It was like just great and funny and stupid. And it was pretty much the highlight of his career. And like he goes and does this movie, and then you go watch the movie that he did that kind of stopped his rise. And then like it's like, oh man, this movie sucks.
Yeah. I hate it when those. Sometimes you find something, especially when I'm trolling the depths of Prime, or well, this might be interesting. Maybe I should give this a chance. I mean, the poster art looks cool. Description sounds exciting. You get a half hour in, you're like, what the fuck did I do?
Yeah.
Am I ever gonna get that time back?
I did see one that like kind of like that, which I ended up enjoying this week. It's a Netflix movie called Arq, ARQ.
So, how does that sound from? I've probably seen it on a poster somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, it'll pop up on Netflix because it's one of their movies. I think it's probably very Canadian. Not sure. I don't recognize the actors. They seem very Canadian. The main guy is like a cousin of the dude from Arrow, which I think he's Canadian too or whatever. And it's very like John Carpenter-esque, like very kind of like within their means, low budget, interesting things done.
Okay.
But they make the best of it because it's just a time travel movie. Like, and like you have this vague understanding of the outside world where there's like two warring factions, and like there's an energy crisis, and like the air sucks. So they're just like in this building the whole time, and then like this guy built this. It was called an arc reactor, ARQ, and it was in like he's like, oh, it's like it's supposed to like create energy almost infinitely or whatever, but then he finds out he just accidentally created a time machine. So then like things start going through the loop, and it's like, so like the what interesting like concept of it is like, so the arc isn't creating infinite energy. It's like it's like the arc runs out of battery, and then it creates the loop again. So that's how like it constantly reuses the same energy. It's like it never creates more energy than it has. It just uses the same energy every time. So yeah, at some point, people start remembering the time loop.
Yeah.
And they start trying to affect it. And then as time goes on, other people start to like remember the time loop. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, all right, we gotta try to fix this. And then like one of the bad guys eventually he starts to remember the time loop. And so the loop starts over again, and like everything changes. And I was like, "Oh fuck, he knows, we know, shit. What's gonna happen?" So I thought it was pretty good.
Arc, ARQ. I might have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I think it's fairly short, but yeah, it's pretty interesting for what it is. Like just like I said, it's very Carpenter-esque in its presentation.
Okay, do I see Westworld?
No, I didn't see episode 2. My video player was not. For some reason, I couldn't watch the second episode, but I could watch Sisters on HBO.
Oh, okay.
So I went to that just to see if the video player was working or not, and it was working, just not for Westworld, and I don't know why. So I ended up seeing Sisters.
Oh, well, good. How was that?
It was pretty stupid. It was still funny, but it was stupid.
Yeah.
Kind of like Ted 2, where it's like, yeah, there's humorous stuff here, but there wasn't a point for it to be made.
There's some humor between all this spackle of nonsense.
I mean, the main bad thing about Sisters is that it just doesn't make sense. Well, I mean, I guess that's ridiculous of it. It's basically a high school party with people in their like late 30s and early 40s,
Oh, okay.
and they have the same exact like characteristics as like a high school party movie. Like it just doesn't change.
Huh.
But Amy Poehler and Tina Fey are really great. So
Yeah, I think I have seen that. Me and Stacy watched that one night. Oh, we watched a movie.
yeah,
We watched the Last Starfighter, which is a 1984 film. It's the first movie I ever remember seeing with that. What was that? What'd you call that? Early form CGI.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was complete computer graphics.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind of an interesting concept at the time.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like, when was Tron? Was that like 79,
I think Tron was 82.
82? Okay.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. Was Tron actually like CGI? Or that had to be CGI, right? Yeah.
I think it was CGI with.
Some clever animation and stuff too. Or something.
Yeah, there was a lot more animation in Tron than there was CG.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like negative. What do they call that?
But like those reclaimers and stuff like that, that was all CG stuff. But
Yeah, some of to a certain extent it was. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I picked this movie because, like, I knew this was gonna be like an 80s movie,
Oh yeah.
but there's still like something weird about it. Like, it's weird that this movie hasn't been rebooted yet because there's still like stuff there about this movie.
Well, yeah. There's you can go look up modern The Last Starfighter trailers, fan made trailers, where it basically uses all the scenes from the movie,
Yeah.
but it's cut different, and it makes the dialogue sound way more intriguing than it actually really was. Which they do that with the modern ones too. But yeah, I guess the deal with this is nobody knows who has the rights to it.
Oh yeah.
Because
Who-
Warner Brothers bought. It was distributed by
Universal.
but it was made by Lorimar Productions,
Oh okay.
which Warner Brothers bought them up, but no one knows if Warner Brothers got the rights to everything.
Oh okay.
And this movie was a failure when it came out.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it only achieved the kind of a later cult status as like this is ultimate 80s sci-fi.
I remember seeing it all the time on television.
Yeah.
Like TBS Midnight, Last Starfighter.
It became a musical, video game.
I don't think. Well, I read some trivia that said like Atari was making a video game, but they never actually made it. Was there a different Last Starfighter video game?
I think there was one that came out. I think it was like a kind of a indie one that came out. In
Oh, okay.
I've never seen it and couldn't find any examples of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this movie got its second wind with DVD and VCR type stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Became really popular, but it's like a cult movie. Like
Yeah.
nobody's watching this like, oh, this is a hidden gem from the 80s. Like, no, it wasn't really that great. It was good, but it wasn't.
I still think the concept's still pretty novel.
Yeah, it was an interesting idea.
Because I also remember like this predates Ender's Game too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
um, you know, and video game stuff was. I'm not sure. Like video game stuff was probably in decline at this time. I can't remember when the crash. No, the crash was '86, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really exactly remember.
Well, I don't know. People exaggerate the crash a bit too much. Like the crash is basically when casual people got out of gaming, but like computer gaming was still a strong thing. It's just nobody was buying Ataris anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and nobody. I don't even think at a trailer park where like nobody has any lives, nobody would gather together in a crowd to watch somebody play a video game. But it's nice to think that would happen.
Well, yeah. What's interesting about this movie is if you compare and contrast it to now, is like all those people lived in a trailer park.
Yeah.
It was poor, you know, and it was like because they make some comment about like, yeah, he's explaining it to the aliens. It's a mobile home, but we never went anywhere, you know. But yeah, like today, that would be a much more hopeless place. There wouldn't be like, oh, you know, the high school kids picking on the poor kid. It's like, no, mom would be on meth and
Yeah.
the girlfriend's probably pregnant. A good reason to get off the planet. But they had some interesting. I like the guy who played Centauri.
Yeah.
I remember him. He was in a lot of.
He seemed like a real old school actor, like almost vaudevillian.
Stuff. Yeah, yeah. I could be wrong on that. I don't know what he was in. No, I'm not seeing Twilight Zone. Why did I think he was in a bunch of Twilight Zone?
He probably was.
Looks like a
Well,
Twilight.
the guy who played the Navigator was in the Twilight Zone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, Lance Guest did a good job, and Robert Preston, and then the guy, the Lizard Man. What was his name? Grigg.
Yeah. I love his laugh. It's just out of nowhere. It's just like he's suddenly losing all oxygen. Just gasp, laugh.
Yeah, there were some good performances in here.
And the one chick who's basically like your B grade Ali Sheedy.
Yes. She's in a lot of things. What was her name? Catherine Stewart?
No, it was something Mary something. Can't remember.
Yeah, Catherine Mary Stewart.
Okay.
Yeah, she was in a lot of those kind of B movies. I think her apex was probably Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh yeah. Should probably cover that movie. How the fuck did this get made? That's another podcast, but
yeah, that's one of those weird ones. There's a lot of one-off actors in this too.
Really?
Yeah, like people who had like the guy who played the evil of the bald-headed, brain-looking people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this was only movie.
Was that Norman Snow or something like that?
Yeah. And who else had a couple? Well, I mean, this was.
There's some great lines in this movie.
Yeah.
Was the chant "Victory or Death"? Is that from somewhere else, or did that just appear here and seem like it should have been somewhere else?
I don't know.
Is that some like ancient Greek chant, "Victory or Death"?
It sounds like something the Spartans would say.
Yeah. Or I like at the end when the ship's about to blow up and the guy's, "What do we do now?" And like the little thing goes over his eyes, like, "We die." Just ship explodes. I kind of like just the random introduction of all these different alien races, and they don't really explain them too much. They're just like, "Well, here they are," and then like you're shoved in this universe because it's just as disorienting for this character as it would be for you. So
Yeah, they don't explain how these things interact. They're there.
well, they just put the Pell on him that translated all the languages.
Right, right.
Um,
Yeah, this movie, yeah, it had a very Tron-esque look to it. It was kind of cool though.
yeah, I mean, it's somewhat disorienting because it was clearly different from reality.
Yeah,
You just start cutting to the CGI thing. And it's like, well, those things don't really connect together that well. But
yeah, the physics were not exactly there, and they're like, oh, this is how things would move. No, they wouldn't.
but
And
still,
every
like,
explosion was the same.
yeah,
That was kind of limitations of the technology.
good simple like ship design.
Yeah,
Like after watching this, I suddenly have an urge to go watch Babylon 5.
yeah. You can't weirdly you can't find anywhere.
Really? Oh, it's probably not. It's probably has some weird rights issues.
Yeah, because you never see it on Prime or Netflix, and I look sometimes. It's like,
You can probably get that one spin-off that was on TBS or TNT for
oh, Crusade or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I've been meaning to go back to Babylon 5 at some point.
This movie had a few gruesome, weird scenes in it too.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things I thought, like, one of the things, like, I was like, there's something about this movie. I know, like, this is why we should watch it. And there's, like, yeah, there's a weird horror element and a weird humor element. There's just a lot of things thrown in there, and they strangely work and strangely don't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get, like, the hitmen that, like, they can just, like, take an aimless drifter who's looking at the arcade cabinet and turn him into a hitman. I don't know how that works. But everybody else walking by, it's totally fine.
Oh, I thought he was one of those things, but the game stripped his camouflage off.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought that was.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then.
Because that technology would be like the Star League.
Because I figured that was like, I thought, like, I was assuming something like the bad guys had hacked into the video game and, and were making people into hitmen. But now that actually makes more sense because that makes it that the video game was working in their favor to uncover the alien.
Yeah, I think that's what that was my interpretation of it.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
It just went from like, here's this drifter, and then like he's suddenly shocked by a video. He's like staring at a video game, and then all of a sudden he just kind of screaming and turns into a weird monster. Yeah, the one thing, like the beta unit, the first time you see its face when he like lifts the blanket, and it's like that sucking, like, and it's like just a white and with translucent vessels underneath, like, it's like, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, that's pretty hardcore. And then the guy's face, they don't really show it, but they're like torturing the guy.
Yeah, and his face just melts.
Yeah, it's like, that's a little, I don't know, this movie was rated PG, I thought. So.
Yeah. I mean, maybe this was before PG-13 was a thing.
Could have been.
Because that came about after Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
Or at Temple of Doom. I can't remember. It revolves around Indiana Jones, I know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose you never like saw this in theaters or anything like that, right?
I don't think so.
Do you remember the like media, like, do you remember trailers or anything of, like, do you remember this like entering your purview at all?
I think so. I think it did have a pretty it had a certain amount of advertising to it.
Okay.
But it came out at a time of, 84 is a lot of science fiction coming out.
Yeah.
Then.
I mean, that's Ghostbusters 2 as well.
Yeah.
Or Ghostbusters as well, not Ghostbusters 2.
In addition to.
Yeah, a lot of shit came out in 84.
Think of what else there was.
Interesting director that, like, his movies are kind of all over the place.
Oh, Nick Castle?
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked with John Carpenter quite a
Yeah.
bit.
He was Michael Myers in the first Halloween.
Okay, I knew there was something. I thought he had a writing thing, but yeah, that.
Maybe too, but one of the trivia I saw was that he played Michael Myers, but yeah, he probably had some, yeah, I don't, yeah, everybody was a producer and actor and, and
A John Carpenter movie. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, you go get me coffee, and oh yeah, you're running the camera. Too.
many hats.
Yeah.
What are you doing, John? I don't know. Directing and doing the fucking score. Why don't you get me some coffee?
Doing some rewrites. When? Oh, for the dialogue we're about to shoot. Okay.
Okay, Mr. Carpenter.
Oh, this guy, what was his next big movie? Dennis the Menace?
Yeah, I think like probably his best movies on there is this and Major Pain.
Major Pain.
That's Damon Wayans is like a he's like a Marine drill instructor, but I think he's actually like an officer or whatever in the thing, and like he has to like take care of these kids, and like he doesn't know how to like turn off like his military aesthetics, and so it just comedic gold starts to happen.
Never heard of that one.
Oh yeah, watch the trailer for that one. You can pretty much all the big jokes are in there, but yeah, it's some pretty funny stuff.
Oh, he directed an Ellen DeGeneres movie. in 96.
Mr. Wrong.
Before she was a lesbian?
Yeah,
Okay.
or it made more sense afterwards.
Yeah, it's like, in retrospect, this movie's like subtly genius.
Yeah.
He could do a what's the guy's the RoboCop director?
Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah, he could do a ridiculous Paul Verhoeven commentary, like for the one for Star Trek Ship Trooper. See, this is where she understands that she loves women. The touch of a man. That's what that shot in the mirror means, and it's like, yeah, it's totally unrelated. Oh, he worked on the Amazing Stories, the TV series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that only lasted a couple years. Boy Who Could Fly. I don't remember that one.
Oh, I remember The Boy Who Could Fly. That's a weird movie. Yeah, that's a weird movie. Yeah, I remember really liking that movie as a kid, but yeah, it's a strange. It has Corey Feldman Corey Feldman's in it, I think, and because he's like playing around with GI Joes in that movie, and then there's like this kid, like I think they just call him retarded, but he's basically an autistic kid. And then some people witness that he can fly, and then nobody believes, and like he can't tell them that he can fly because he doesn't communicate with people. And then like people are like, "You telling us the retarded kid can fly?" It's like, "No, I mean he can't." But it's like, "No, he can't." It's like he's at a mental institution. It's like it's a strange movie.
Huh.
But there's some fantastical elements to it that work still.
Fred Savage was in that.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, it's probably Fred Savage playing around with G.I. Joes and shit.
Yeah. God, he's 40 now.
He's a big time television director.
Oh, is he? Is that what he does?
Yeah. Basically, any comedy that's been premiered in like the last 10 years, he probably directed the premiere.
Did not know that. Then we have Dennis the Menace.
Which I can't even remember that one really. I'm more thinking of Problem Child than Dennis the Menace. Dennis the Menace was like by the time it came out, was a tamer version of that.
Yeah, let's see. Christopher Lloyd was in it.
Yeah, I do not remember that movie whatsoever. If Christopher Lloyd was in it.
Who else was in it? Paul Winfield was the police.
Who wrote Last Starfighter, and like what did they do anything after this?
Let's see.
I remember that it was interesting. Like his concept of this was basically the Sword and the Stone, but what if the Sword and the Stone was a video game cabinet? Which I think that's why this still works. Is like it's kind of a a Rocky kind of story, and Sword and Stone, and rags to riches kind of stuff. Not really.
Yeah.
Well, not really rags to riches, but like slums to opportunity.
Yeah, I don't see her writing. Alan Dean Foster. Well, he wrote the novelization. Okay, he didn't write the original story though.
On Internet Movie Database.
Yeah.
It doesn't have it on there.
No, it's not. Well, it's not coming up. Sometimes you got to go to those deep credits.
I'll look for it.
Box office mojo. This is exciting for everyone. Hang on, it gets better.
We've ran out of things to talk about. The Last Starfighter.
I'm having computer slow.
John R. Butel.
That's why it's not coming up right away.
He wrote. Oh, let's see. Let's go to writer. Last Starfighter. My Science Project. Kind of remember that.
Yeah, that was sort of a takeoff on Weird Science.
Then he did CBS Summer Playhouse. It's a TV series, 1 episode. He did 1 episode of Freddy's Nightmare, a TV series. And then he did Theodore Rex, which is that Whoopi Goldberg
Oh,
Tyrannosaurus Rex cop movie.
huh.
So
This is
yeah.
how you just hire.
Yeah.
Here's the idea. This is what we want. Okay.
That was the end of his career. Oh.
I guess Steven Spielberg looked into the remake. There was an article I found.
Well, he's
But-
doing
Legal issues. He just didn't want to bother.
I mean, he's doing Ready Player One, which is basically the Last Starfighter, but in a different form.
I thought Armada was the one.
Armada's more directly at where it's like hey, this one ship has to fight an armada. That's more like here is like the fight in Last Starfighter. I haven't read Armada, but that's why I understand it to be. But I remember, Ready Player One, it's like here's this kid who literally lives in a super trailer park in the future, like think of a more dystopian Idiocracy.
Oh, okay.
And then these people like to get away from their shitty lives go into virtual reality, and in the virtual reality is a chance to like win. It's kind of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and Last Starfighter. If you beat all these goals, you'll get money or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So he's doing that. Which that should be interesting because I don't know, I got through that book and it's like this isn't very good.
Which one, Armada or Ready Player One?
Well, I hear Armada's not good, but I can understand why people like Ready Player One.
Uh-huh.
And I can understand why people hate that fucking book. Slav, it's just like it derives off the power of nostalgia.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all that book is just pure nostalgia. And if you have no connection to any of that nostalgia, like it would just be insufferable to read that book. Because it's nothing but 80s references.
Yeah, well, that's what I've heard. I heard the guy who wrote the book just drives a DeLorean and lives in that kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, as young adult fiction, it's perfectly fine. But it kind of got elevated a little bit beyond that, and so now it has some heat on it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what Steven Spielberg does with it. What 80s references they will be able to and not be able to get away with. Yeah, you really need to get Robert Zemeckis on that. Yeah. Who framed Roger Rabbit? That shit.
Writes and produces. Oh yeah.
Because probably need to do that. Probably do that next.
Which one, Roger Rabbit?
Yeah. 'Cause that's a fucking crazy movie. Like, that movie should have never happened. Nobody should ever have agreed to have any of those characters work together ever.
Oh, it looks like a kid's movie, but then had overt, like, sexual references and innuendo. And, I mean, one of the main characters, Jessica Rabbit, was just boobs with a head.
Yep.
Yeah, but we'll save that for the next one. But anyway, The Last Starfighter.
Yeah.
Does this movie hold up? No.
No.
It is the essence of an 80s movie.
Yes.
Especially kind of B-movie sci-fi.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie.
Still something about it.
Yeah. There's something transferable and relatable
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Last Starfighter. Check it out. It's available. Unfortunately, you have to pay to see this one. Unless you want to be a pirate.
I think it was $7 for HD on Amazon, so it wasn't too bad. And I think you can rent it for like $2, so
Yeah.
it's not too hard to see it.
Well, it's one of those weird movies. It's like nobody knows who owns the rights to it anymore.
Yeah.
It's so. That's why it pops up from time to time. But I never had understood what made a Gunstar special over a regular. Just I know it could fire in multiple directions, but it seemed to.
Well, that was this one. Yeah, the one that had the end was specially modified to do the Death Blossom thing.
Yeah.
So not all of them could do that. Only that one could do that.
Okay.
But otherwise, I don't know. That's just one of those things where like they just had to sell it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, these Gunstars are like the most powerful ships in the universe, and like we're gonna stop them.
Yeah, I never quite. I was trying to understand when I rewatched this movie. It's like, why are these ships more special than the alien ones? It just
There's a lot of throwaway dialogue where it's like, that's like just casual explanation that just does nothing to satisfy your curiosity.
yeah.
Especially a lot of stuff with what's the one guy who's picks him up in the car.
Centauri.
Yeah, Centauri. He has a lot of just like throwaway dialogue, and it's like where he's just like, these are the things, and it reminds me of the dialogue in the there's a Mystery Science Theater episode of Merlin's Shop of Mystical Wonders.
Okay.
Where it was like this failed horror movie that they pieced together with it was supposed to be sort of like an Outer Limits kind of thing, or what do you call that? An anthology kind of movie where it was like 4 stories that came together, and it was supposed to be kind of like a Twilight Zone movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they had 2 stories, and both of them were terrible. And then and then the way they saved the movie is they edited the movie together with Ernest Borgnine telling a children's story to his kid, trying to explain that. Yeah, this is, and the excuse was like, this is Grandpa's old like TV pilot that didn't go anywhere.
Jesus.
And a lot of the explanations where it's like the kid's like, well, why did Merlin do that? And it's like, oh, because his mystical powers. And it's like a lot of that dialogue. It's like, that's the 80s ass dialogue. It's like, that doesn't explain the shit.
Yeah, it just sounds better than like, because it is, god damn it.
Yeah. Yeah, go the Gears of War road. Where'd the locusts come from? The ground, you asshole.
What are the connections between locusts and human and your energy?
Anya, fire the missile.
I always like the big truck things that they rode along in.
Yeah.
The nasty guy driving. They come to the tunnel. Let me light up Betty's titties for you. Great. It's amazing.
Yeah, the other movie I've been hearing about on other podcasts and I have to revisit is the Addams Family movies.
Oh, the ones with Raul Julia and
Yeah.
oh, yeah, those. The first one was pretty good.
Second one's still pretty good. It's not as good as the first one, but there's some scenes that are better.
Yeah.
Like the whole camp B story is pretty amazing. When they meet the one dorky kid and they're like trading like serial killer cards with each other, and then, you know, at some point it seems like Wednesday has been brainwashed by the kids, and then at the end there's just like, you know, they're spit roasting a kid on a fire, and like the Indians have killed all of the villagers.
Those movies kind of launched Christina Ricci's career, right?
Oh yeah. And then, but on the other podcast, they were talking about like, you know, stunt casting for like they need to like reboot the Addams Family, and they're trying to do stunt casting for that. So they wanted to get the guy who played the Viper on Game of Thrones to play Gomez.
It would work.
And then they thought, get Christina Ricci to then play the mother. Just have that whole through line.
Yeah.
And then they're casting like all the kids as like the kids from Stranger Things, basically.
When's that start up again?
I don't know. I mean, they're working on season 2, but it's probably not till next year.
Yeah, I saw the trailer.
Oh, they had a trailer?
Yeah.
Like with new footage, or is it just kind of like...
Just the credit roll.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
Just the...
Stories keep popping up where they have they're gonna like avenge, was it Beth? The girl who gets like dragged in and just like killed, and then she just has slugs coming out of her mouth.
Oh, the fat girl?
Yeah. They said there's gonna be justice for her in season 2. And then otherwise, I have no idea what they're gonna be doing.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool thing. I enjoyed that. Just want to know who the Duffer Brothers are.
Just random dudes. They worked on other TV shows as writers, so.
Yeah. Oh, they're twins.
Oh, they are? Huh. What was it? Oh, yeah, I saw Zootopia.
Which one's that?
That's the one where it's like like a cop movie, but like they're all animals. It's animated.
Oh, well, yeah, I hope so. Oh, wait a minute. Is that the one Bateman was one of the voices in it?
Yes.
Played a rabbit.
Yeah, he played a fox, and then he had a rabbit as the cop. He actually plays like he's a sly fox. He's like a fox who's like a con artist, and that's how he gets around.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's fine. It's a kids movie. It's fine. But I did find it was pretty interesting, like how just overt they make like racism a subject of that movie.
Yeah, so I remember reading once about, because I was trying to think, and I found the article here is on Daily Beast about how it said how Zootopia addresses America's race problems. It does?
Yeah, that and like police presence in response to it and shit like that too. It's really strange to kind of watch it.
Is that a Pixar?
No, that's
That's a Disney one.
I think that's a DreamWorks one.
DreamWorks, okay.
What? Nah, wait. No, it might be Disney. Like I know Pixar is Disney, but like there's a separate Disney studio.
Yeah.
So I think that's a Disney one, because I think this is like the Frozen team.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
The only thing I know about Frozen is the songs my son sings while playing.
There's just the one, right?
Yeah, they sing "Let It Go" and when they're waiting
that's it.
to spawn. But they all do it. I've heard like 30 people through his mic.
Yeah.
I'm singing this song.
Well, they're being ironic. What's the
Yeah.
gayest thing we could sing right now? Let's sing about Frozen's "Let It Go."
Grayson will sing it in a high falsetto and really get into it.
Yeah.
I was like, son, I don't want to have to murder.
It's still hard to believe that's like the biggest animated movie of all time.
I've never seen it.
I watched it because like I heard how huge it was, and like we even like in my department, you just put frozen on any fucking thing. Like we have frozen chicken nuggets, like not frozen chicken nuggets, but like frozen branded chicken nuggets.
Oh, it's a multi-level marketing thing now.
Yeah. And then frozen popsicles, but not branded popsicles frozen.
Yeah.
And so like I watched it and I was like, well shit, like as huge as this thing is, this must be an amazing movie. And I watched it, it's like it was okay.
I think it's one of those movies that was like right place, right time type.
Yeah, I
Everyone
think
was in the mood for it.
yeah, I think people
But then
were,
there's weird debate about how the princess should be a lesbian. It's like, I don't think they're going down that road.
No,
Or
no.
maybe in today's world they are. I don't know.
well cuz I think people are ready for kind of like those a princess movie again cuz Disney hadn't did that for a long I mean they kind of did that with Tangled. But I mean the thing about the Frozen movie is like it's an independent woman and or both they're two independent girls who are like making their own ways in their life. They're not relying on a woman or a man to make decisions for them and shit like that. There's that kind of politics that gets thrown in there, and you can see that.
Yeah.
And so anytime a woman makes decisions for herself, of course she has to be a lesbian, so that people do that too.
Oh, is that what that? Okay. It's like, what is wrong with people? It's a kids movie.
People are assholes.
People love to be. Joe Rogan has a perfect description. It's like the right to be offended or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, speaking of comedians and things I like, Jim Norton is doing something hilarious. It's you can watch it on his I'm sure it's on YouTube. I saw it on his Facebook. It's called Salad with Jimmy. Because he like works out all the time and like eats grains and salads and I don't know. He's always talking about something he's doing. It looks like he weighs about 50 pounds, but for some reason he's got to continue this. And he goes. You can tell these are like nice restaurants because these salad plates are like this big. It's huge salad and it's in this nice. But he's doing weird stuff like he can barely hold his coffee cup and he's shaking a lot. or he'll do something like he grabbed an artichoke heart, put it in a wine glass and went like this and shook it up and then put it on the plate and then cut it up with a knife, but did it really loud. He's acting palsied the whole time. And his most recent one was he got on a Stairmaster at his gym, but he didn't use his hands. They were just draped at his sides and he was just going real like flat expression on it. I don't know why, but it's fucking hilarious. I watch these things because, like I said, when he drags the coffee cup across and takes a sip, but he doesn't fucking break. He doesn't smile. He doesn't laugh. He's just doing this really weird shit. I'm a fan of public behavior like that. like, how can we fuck with everyone here? Oh, I know. But yeah. So Trump. No, I'm kidding.
Who's your write-in candidate?
Yeah, who are we writing in? Puff the Magic Dragon? Jesse Ventura.
We'll save this country
Save us all.
with a flying
It is
elbow.
getting to be like this is a combination of idiocracy and then like that kind of that. Remember that movie Last Days, the Hitler movie with Robert Carlyle. It's like this is kind of getting to be a combination of both. But yeah, Mom and Dad told me they already voted, so
Oh, they did that.
they did their pre-voting.
Okay.
Old people voting, I guess, is what Dad called it.
I pre-voted before. Had to.
We have to go over to the where do we go? The high school now. They keep changing it every year.
Really? I've voted the same place for like the last 12 years.
Well, the population where I live, because I moved, it's fucking been 17
Oh, they
years.
gerrymandered the shit out of your district.
No. the population's like quintupled
Oh,
since
okay.
we moved in. Like all the old places I pulled, those are still polling places.
Oh, okay.
Just keep getting redirected because when Obama ran the first time, we waited 3 hours to vote because it was like around the corner, up the street, and they had like 4 voting booths. It was retarded.
Huh.
Ever since then, but yeah, the population around here is really, they're building 7 new subdivisions. Like they're gonna add 10,000 houses between now and December. Where I live, like this is crazy. That's why they're putting all the roundabouts in everywhere because they can't really afford to have people stopped because they don't have enough roads around here to get everyone through at rush hour. The other thing I was going to tell you, you've heard about the Nexus pipeline, this controversy.
What's that?
It's the big natural gas pipeline that runs from Canada down to the Gulf of Mexico. And so the Canadians can sell their natural gas.
Okay.
And they built it through. Yeah, it's because they always tell Obama, vote no on the Nexus pipeline. Found out last week they're installing it. It's literally 1,000 feet from my house. It's right through here. It's big natural gas pipeline. It's like, holy shit, I didn't know.
It's a knife through the heart of America.
Some people, it's running right through their backyards, like literally.
NIMBY.
Yep. They're supposed to have a public meeting we can go to, because I took some of my this vacation rolls over in December, so I got all these days to use up. So I took like a few days off around the election because I don't know, like there might be rioting and murder depending on how it goes. So I'm gonna stay close to home for the election, and but they're supposed to have an informational meeting. I'm gonna show up and try to be be my usual wise ass self, add things to the conversation. Like, what happens if the pipeline gets breached? How long do we have to pray to whatever before we go into the arms of Allah? How long are we gonna have? Because yeah, I'll just say weird shit like that to see if I can get thrown out of the meeting. Like, no, sir, everything's safe. This never happens. And I was like, yeah, Chernobyl was safe until it wasn't. And then it really wasn't. I'm going to have to polish my lines a little bit. I'm sure whatever I came up with couldn't be nearly half as weird as what some of the people around here, especially like the militia crew from the south end of the county, and it's like they're going to be government agents monitoring the pipeline and spying on us for Obama's secret police.
The Obama lease.
Yeah. They're coming to impregnate our daughters and take our 22 caliber pistols away.
Impregnate our daughters, steal our rifles, kill our mothers and fathers.
Rape our cattle.
Steal our social security.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I'm sure.
Dehydrate our water. Fluoride our water.
Was the guy from
Congress created Dust Bowl.
They can steal our Constitution. They're going to break the laws of nature, science, and God. Make sure we don't have a Constitution.
That is the power of tyranny. It exceeds all
I
time
prayed
and
on
space.
Yeah, that's how it's going to go. It's amazing how you can throw all that bullshit in a hat and shit it up, and you know someone who fucking talks.
Preach it, brother.
Yeah, we're gonna get followers. They know the truth. Oh yeah, I love that hackneyed.
Hope can't melt steel beams.
Yeah. It's like that thing I used to have it. Probably can't play it though because we'll get thrown off. But that listen to the animals from Squidbillies. It's like that encapsulates half this country's thinking. Listen to the animals. Hear what they say. Oh yeah, that's well, it's like something that got posted on Facebook, which I was gonna respond to, but it just I don't do that much because it
Nope.
leads to angry rebukes, and even if I'm just pointing out, they basically said all this weird shit about Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
It's like heir to the Vanderbilt fortune, attended a secret society at Yale and spread propaganda for the CIA, and you're gonna listen to this guy, and and let him brainwash you. And I was thinking to myself, well, you're getting this shit from Fox News, so how outside of this, this are you? I mean, you couldn't possibly be more brainwashed.
There needs to be a documentary about the intentional and unintentional misinformation brought about by Facebook. Self-reporting news media, social media.
I have a pretty simple formula. Cause sometimes my wife will find something like, did you see this? It's like, yeah, that's pretty weird. Let me check this out. In like 2 seconds, I can, let's see, no website for this. No, or it's shit so crazy, or it's a tripod website that's been repurposed from the late 90s. And
or it's some bait headline written by a computer news robot.
Yeah, or just something. Or you go to the website and it's like some conservative website where the wife is selling like Jesus dolls on the side to raise money to get her kidneys. Or it's always, it's like you got to really source this shit before you repost it, unless it's just funny.
I don't know. Sometimes I just don't think. Unless it like comes with a comment, I don't think people know that like whatever app they signed up for is just posting for them, and then everybody thinks they just like are doing this intentionally. Cause like I don't know, like I usually don't sign up for apps and shit, but I'm pretty sure there's probably some weird shit that pops up on my Facebook as it makes it look like it was sent from me or something.
Conlon wants you to know about the Draco reptilian.
This one lady, the crowd just kept clapping and the cameraman kept filming. And it's always a picture of like a busty lady.
Yeah.
The cameraman just kept filming.
It's never shit you want to click on and see, like, oh, look, she's shooting ping pong balls out of her pussy. This totally makes sense. No, it's always something. I always like those things about, like, the world's going to end, or if your skin turns red when you scratch it, you might be having a heart attack. Click on this link, and it's something that, like, locks you into a video. Like, you can't fast forward, and it tries to do that sticky thing where you can't back your browser out of it. And,
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, this is just, they're just raping the old with this stuff right here. The computer man told me.
Do you have those marks after you take your socks off? You might be having a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah, because human skin never changes color or deforms under it's a sign of a major problem.
And Facebook is here to diagnose your web ailments.
Right. Get down to your nearest pain management clinic. You too can have a freezer bag full of Vicodin.
Don't go see them government doctors.
No.
Go down to your Eastern meditation center.
Yeah. Yeah, don't talk to a Western doctor about your pain. Lonely, bored housewife in her late 20s to early 30s. Come down to our yoga class and get butt fucked. And pay us to do it. You heard about all the yoga rapes that are going on?
No.
Not rapes, but yeah, like
Yoga sexual assaults?
oh yeah. It's like, here, let me help you. gotta bend over like this and wear tight pants. It's like, yeah, this is you've just put all the ingredients in the mixing bowl for a sexual assault. It's like lonely, insecure, bored housewives in tight pants with some dude teaching them. Oh, we're gonna make the room 100 degrees too. And he's also wearing tight pants to show a boner. Did you ever have a problem at work with the employees jerking off in front of other employees?
No.
This hasn't happened yet? Okay.
I don't tend to work with other people, so maybe I'm just out of the clear.
I mean, have you heard of this?
No.
Oh, okay. It's coming. The new trend sweeping the nation. We're getting to be like Japan over here with our sexual proclivity.
Well, when you can put it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Well, with this, it'll probably have to be, I'll have to put it up on Daily Motion.
Yeah, some of the darker, the grungier YouTubes that allow tits. Tit tube.
Just Pornhub. Just put it up on Pornhub.
All right. Well, I think that's about a wrap.
Yep.
Unless you want to talk till you got to go right to work.
I gotta go to work. I gotta go fall asleep at work.
All right.
I'll be asleep on top of the corn dogs.
The Frozen brand corn dogs.
Yeah, what is it? State Fair corn dogs.
State Fair corn dogs. Remember the mini dogs I used to have?
Yeah, they still have them.
Man, you could
Look
eat
at-
a whole pack of them. You'd knock a whole pack of them out. Whole bag of them out.
Yeah, I don't want them to go to waste.
No. Don't lose them. I remember some of your eating when we were younger it amazed me.
Amazing what boredom can do.
Oh yeah.
And no self-control. Well, that tasted good. Let's just keep that going.
Yeah, like not tomorrow either. I mean, like 15 minutes. As soon as that oven gets hot enough again, we're dipping back in. Remember the mini pizza drama?
Somewhat.
There's like 6 of them in the oven. They're reaching in to pull the pan out. Dad walks in like, "What the fuck? What's he doing?" Because I wasn't eating any. I'd already sated myself with something insanely healthy, like a loaf of bread with butter in the middle of it in the microwave. So I was good. Jesus. Oh well. Anyway, this week for the American Creed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
This is Conlon. Goodbye, America.